Hello, welcome back to the Rio Grande Gorge near Taos, New Mexico. Around, look downstream, you can see the gorge there. It's a beautiful day. It's like 69 degrees or something like that Fahrenheit, and almost dropped my phone. Been out here fishing. I was recording a video earlier and then I had a mishap where my hat fell out of my lap and my sunglasses fed the river. Lessons in non-attachment. Anyhow, what I was talking about in that previous video is talking about aliens. Honestly, we got a lot of stuff going on right now. We got files have been declassified in recent time. Lots of new videos out there. We got former government people allegedly going whistleblower. We got people that think they know what they're talking about, and I figured I would just kind of give my lowdown. Take it or leave it. It doesn't matter to me. But every time I come down here, when I'm hiking down here, I talked to one of my guides. Let's see if we can get the river here going on in the back. I talked to one of my guides, my primary guide, who is the being that was on board the spacecraft when I had my close encounter. Those that are unaware, in 2004, while hiking in the mountains around Taos, I had a close encounter. I had a UFO portal in and rapidly decelerate from way above me and came down and hovered directly above me, right above the treetops for about 30 seconds and then took off and flew away. And what I learned, it took me some years to really get the download on what was going on, but this was like an appointment. This was Alpha Centauri. They're from Alpha Centauri, which there's a lot of misconceptions out there about Alpha Centauri and Beta Centauri, but they're from Alpha Centauri and had come specifically to find me to activate my DNA activate the code that was hidden within my DNA that's related to Alpha Centauri and related to my overall mission. So Alpha Centauri, yeah, they're on the list, right? That's the closest star system. It's actually Proxima Centauri, but Proxima and Alpha and Beta Centauri are all underneath 5 light years from us. Very close, relatively speaking. I think the next closest system is maybe Sirius, is like 8 light years away. But the Alpha Centaurians, they're human beings, but they are very ET. They have these elongated skulls, and they're tall. They're taller than we are in general. They're like 7 feet tall. Blue-green skin, human-ish face, on a much larger body, much taller body. They're super advanced. They are totally benevolent, and what I was told after my close encounter and under hypnosis, under doing some regression work, I was told that the Alpha Centauri civilization, they were like ambassadors to the Earth, or like spiritual overseers of the Earth. Approximately 60 to 50,000 years ago, they were on Earth in what is now Peru, and that they built massive pyramids, which we think are mountains because they're covered with trees and stuff now. But yeah, super advanced. And I'm told that they're not going to be in the first contact, the first wave of first contact, open contact, which is coming very soon. But those that will be are going to include the Pleiadians. The beings that we call Pleiadians are typically from a couple of star systems within the Pleiades star cluster. The Pleiades has hundreds of stars in the star cluster, but there are 7 primary stars that are naked eye visible to us here on Earth, and especially in the northern hemisphere. And the Pleiades, those 7 stars, I don't remember the names of all of their names, but the primary one is called Alcyon. That's kind of like the local seat of government, like galactic government, the local seat of government, if you will. Kind of like Coruscant in the Star Wars series. They, although not developed quite like that, but it's like the local seat of government where all the star nations in the local star cluster, local area of the Milky Way, are pretty much represented there. Very advanced civilizations. But the Pleiadians, though, they are virtually identical to us. They share genetics with us because they donated genetics to us very long time ago. They seeded colonies on the Earth, which a lot of people say that the most recent Pleiadian colonization, if you will, was in like the ancient Lemuria and then Atlantis civilizations. So identical to us, although they tend to look a little bit more like Northern European. I'm going to hit a shadow here. The sun's going behind the rim over there. And they're very advanced. They have been in contact with humanity for a very long time. Earth humanity, and they're going to be the first open contact will represent, or they will have representatives because they look identical to us, so it will be less shocking to us conceptually. I've also been told that also with that wave of first contact will be the inner earth beings, those beings, in so-called Agartha, or like the city Telos that is underneath Mount Shasta. Underneath other locations around the world, there are these inner earth cities, major cities, massive structures that are inside the crust of the earth. Getting a little breezy again. I'll try to cover my mic. So those beings, they also are us because they are our ancestors. They were on the surface of the earth until series of cataclysms basically forced them to terraform structures inside the earth that they then inhabit, and they have super advanced technology. They create sunlight inside the earth, like inside these cities. Imagine being inside of like a geode, like an amethyst geode or a quartz crystal geode, but that the interior diameter is like miles, 20 miles across, 15 miles, 60, 100 miles across. I mean, I think the scale of these things is just hard for us to fathom. But it is real, and they had gone inside the earth prior to various cataclysms, maybe prior to the 12,000 year cycles of the geomagnetic reversal that we're ongoing right now. Anyhow, they are going to be coming out to the surface and making contact with us as first contact, along with the Pleiadians. There are so many other groups. I mean, it's, when you see these numbers that are coming out from the government, like, oh, they've had contact with 8 species. I'm like, oh my God, dude, just think about like the cantina scene in Star Wars, or like in Star Trek, where we have human beings that are like Earth human beings, that are identical to Earth human beings, that are interacting with so many different races, mostly hominid. I think the human form, I'm told, it's a very, very common form to have, like a head and a torso and arms and legs and whatnot of various variations. And because the Earth is a living repository, it's a living library of genetics and consciousness, we have life forms on Earth that are adapted life forms to this realm, and they come from these other places where the star beings come from. So a lot of these beings that I encounter in my healing sessions, a lot of them I've seen, medicine journeys, whatnot, these beings are very similar to life forms that we have on Earth, dogs, like human beings that are canine, right? Like human beings that are feline. These are among the most common that I work with, are the felines. A lot of people are feeling the felines. There are avian beings, bird beings, human beings that are birds, like Horus from ancient Egypt, Anubis, the canine being from ancient Egypt. So many different variations, things that are very different. There, insectoid beings. There are plasma beings, beings that exist in a plasma state. Maybe this is like what's on Jupiter or Saturn. These gas giant planets maybe have plasma entities and not physical entities like we do on Earth because of just the logistics, like pressures and whatnot on Jupiter. But there's just so much life. There's so many variations of life, and so many of us right now are consciously working with these beings. We're receiving guidance from these beings. We are having dreams with these beings. We are, having synchronistic ideas that rise in our mind that maybe are coming in from our guides. And so, this is something that is very real and is happening right now in a really wide scale way. So, I think that what is happening right now with all this declassification and the timing of everything is such that the UFO ET situation is just one aspect of what is shifting in our world right now, with truth being revealed. And so it's quite the moment. I mean, this is something that many of us, the starseeds especially, we all know that this reality is real, that we are not alone. We're not alone on our own planet, let alone alone in the entire universe. Like that's like the most narcissistic belief possible, that we would be alone in the vastness of this reality. But we are not. The universe creates life. That's what it does. It creates life, and that life, it has consciousness in many different ways, and the consciousness then experiencing and creating reality is the mission of life, I believe. It's the feedback of what is possible to be created, feeding it back to the one prime creator, or God with a capital G, the Tao, whatever we want to name, and put our names to these things that are unnameable. And so, there are many life forms, and what I see that is unfolding right now is that this is kind of like the early stages of the full disclosure. It's like what we used to call soft disclosure, but not in a bad way. It's being controlled in order to desensitize people, in order to open people up to possibilities without scaring them. And, going back, I think it was in the 1950s, the Brookings report from the Brookings Institute, where they were contracted, this think tank was contracted to kind of play out scenarios about what it is that's going to happen when the open contact is made. And back in the 1950s, they were saying that it would destroy religion, it would a societal upheaval, that people wouldn't be able to manage it, that it would be too frightening, too big of a shift in reality. And so the decision was made then as official policy to keep everything completely locked under a tight lid, and then simultaneously to reverse engineer any technology that we acquired, either through retrieval or through gifting, that has happened, to our civilization. And most of the major nations on Earth have these programs, although none of them are throwing as much, illicit dark money as the United States has. This moment, God, I'm being like swarmed right now with little bugs, and there are swallows that are flying above the river, just like gorging themselves because there's a hatch going on right now. Maybe we can see, I think I've seen a couple of these swallows in the background here that have flown behind me, but there's like a bunch of them right now. I've actually never been to this part of the river. This is the furthest up that I've fished Cebolla Mesa, and I'm going to have to head home after this video's finished because I got a long hike back. So anyhow, it's the disclosure. They're prepping people right now to consider all sorts of possibilities, and they're talking about it. The people that are out there talking about this topic, they're also, I believe, prepping people in different ways, because you have people that are talking about like craft, actual physical craft, like Bob Lazar, Bob Lazar breaking this all open about the S2 or S4 complex at Area 51 back in 1988 or 89, and the actual physical craft that had been retrieved. So we got that out there. We got people talking about dimensionality, talking about how these beings are actually not like aliens from other worlds, but that they're manifesting from other dimensions and that they're always alongside us. And I believe that that is true also, but not all of it. Like, that's the thing, is we don't want to like fall into these traps of making one size fit all, right? There are many, many realities that are unfolding for us right now. So, yeah, dimensionality, though, for sure is part of the equation. There are, things, time travelers, things from the past. There are demons. This is a big thing people are out there talking about, especially the conservative Christians are all talking about how the ETs aren't, extraterrestrial beings, they're demons. Well, there are demons, demons are very real. Although I don't think the demons are necessarily flying these light ships that I see almost every night. So, there's a lot of different things that are unfolding right now, and we're being prepared for this. So it's such an exciting moment. I mean, this has been a moment that I've been waiting for my entire life, really, and have been teaching about and talking about for many years. So we're there, man. We have arrived in the moment, and as all of the other topics unfold in this world, like the corruption within government, the nanotechnology that we've all been exposed to, the free energy and transportation and faster than light transportation, portal technology, all these things are medical technology, healing technology, using sound and light frequencies to completely eradicate disease and rebuild tissue. I mean, it's just what's in front of us is so extraordinary, and this is the big moment. This is what we've been waiting for. So go ahead and throw in the comments any different kinds of star beings or different groups that you're in contact with: Arcturians, Andromedans, Pleiadians, Lyrans. There's so many of these words out there. Not that I'm attached to any of those words. I really don't care what names are what. But the reality of it is real, and it is unfolding in front of us, and this is our time to shine. Those of us that came here to do this work, which is probably every single one of you listening to this. So thank you. I hope you enjoy this beautiful place as much as I do. It's just extraordinary. And I'm gonna hike myself back up that big ass hill. It's 1.25 miles from the trail, from the trailhead at the top down to the confluence of the two rivers, and I'm quite a ways upstream, so I got a ways to go. All right, I love you all. Like the video if you can, subscribe if you're not already. I'm going to be trying to put out more and more content like this and talking about what's going on. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know any questions and any further discussions. If you have any questions about different groups, let me know. I'll record what I understand to be true. All right, peace out, yo.